Greetings. Welcome to the Captive Desk. In this video, I am responding to a preacher in the following video. As an atheist, and from this atheist, how dare you?
He's a cult within Islam, if that makes sense. So the recent thing that he came out with, he claims to be the new pope, or he should be the new pope after the other guy died, Francis. So here, listen to him.
The Ansar of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the best Ansar on the face of the earth, went out to the four corners of the earth to protest against the false pope and the false papacy and to give glad tidings of the appearance of the real pope. The believers stood in the crowd before the false pope on less than 24 hours later. A great miracle and sign occurred. A sign no less great than the earth-swallowing Korah. The earth swallowed the false pope. He was killed by the mere breath of the believers chanting, Labbaik ya Aba Sadiq.
Wow. Yeah, Jonestown. It's nuts, dude. It's real. It's real. You gotta know what's going on. You got an idea. Okay, so he's claimed to be the new pope. Okay, so if you made heads or tails out of that, what is he saying? He's saying, the reason you don't understand who I am and don't recognize me, because it's like Joseph in the Old Testament. So he brings in a lot of Old Testament stuff, and he says, the brothers didn't recognize Joseph, and that's why you guys don't recognize me. And so you're like his brothers not recognizing me for my greatness. Anyway, he wears all black typically. I don't know why, but he does. He has this little cult thing, and there's like pictures of him and different people in there, and it looks like the Ark of the Covenant thing. I don't know what you want to call that. It's weird. No doubt about that. Yeah, it looks like the Ark of the Covenant, huh? What now? His mother's Facebook? What? Oh, his mother's basement. Okay, yeah. It's a big basement at Mom's house. He's got a pulpit, okay. And so I don't know who these pictures are behind him, but anyway, here are his followers. They look like lovely people. No one would ever think any different about them, right? It's just like normal people.
It's always a strange kind of theater when a Christian preacher climbs into the pulpit to mock another religion. The laughter comes easy, the punchline's even easier. Snide comments about outfits, relics, basement shrines, and messianic figures. It's all so obviously absurd, until you remember that the man laughing and the audience believes in talking snakes, virgin births, talking animals, angels, demons, magic zoo boats, and eternal torture chambers for thought crimes. This is in no way, shape, or form a defense of the Mahdi Abba al-Sadiq or the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. From where I stand, as someone who has no faith in any religion, their teachings are as suspect, as mystical, and as cult-like as any other belief system that demands obedience to an invisible authority. But here's the thing. I see yours the same way, preacher. When I see a preacher ridiculing another group's sacred beliefs with smug superiority, all I can think of is, how dare you? Because the only thing more delusional than believing in ancient mythologies, prophecies, boogeymen, their ridiculous rituals, and magic zoo boats is believing your version is the only one that makes sense. And so I say to you, preacher, and your peers, with clarity and strong conviction, how dare you? How dare you, a preacher of Christianity, a religion built on miracles, blood sacrifice, and blind obedience, sneer at the Mahdi Abba al-Sadiq and the Ahmadi religion of peace and light like you're not preaching from the same playbook. You stand on stage and make jokes about their outfits, their wall art, their devotion to a replica Ark of the Covenant. Oh, it's in his ma's basement. You laugh, hardy har har, smug and self-satisfied, like your own religion hasn't demanded just as much reverence for relics, clothing, and very disturbing rituals. You think their beliefs are ridiculous? Let's break it down. AROPL traces its lineage to 12 Shia Islam and reveres a disputed document, the will of the Prophet Muhammad, that outlines 12 Imams and 12 Mahdis. Abdullah Hashim Abba al-Sadiq claims to be the 12th Mahdi, the long-awaited messianic figure. Sound wild to you? Sure. But you worship a man who was born of a virgin, raised the dead, and ascended bodily into the sky, and you do so with a straight face. You're laughing at a man who claims to be divinely appointed, part of a messianic bloodline. Do you know what your own religion is based on? Exactly that. You mock their leader for calling himself the Caim or Caim, the riser of the family of Muhammad, while you preach that Jesus is the literal Son of God who will return on a cloud with angels and trumpets to smite the wicked and reign for 1,000 years. You're not mocking irrationality. You're mocking a mirror image of your own faith. And the only reason it's funny to you is because you're not on their team. And let's not forget your founding patriarch, Abraham, the man of God who heard voices in his head and thought the right response was to murder his own son. Real stable guy. Hey, kiddo, let's go for a walk up this mountain. Bring the firewood and don't ask about the knife. And then, when he's not traumatizing his child with divine homicide plans, he turns around and says, "Now everyone drop your pants. God wants us to slice off part of our genitals. It's the cool thing to do." That's your sacred tradition. Attempted filicide and mass circumcision. And you're laughing at someone else's religion for sounding cultish? Let me be very clear. As an atheist, I agree that this movement raises red flags. The hierarchy, the sacred texts, the messianic claims, it reeks of cult behavior. But the difference between you and me is that I don't pretend your version of it is somehow exempt. I see Christianity for what it is, a cult that won the war of influence. For now. You demand the same submission to divine authority, the same ritual purity, the same unquestioning faith, and you wrap it in a cross instead of a crescent. You think the Ark in Mom's basement joke is so funny, yet you literally believe in a supernatural box that zaps people dead and was carried around like a nuclear relic of God's wrath. You mock their wall art and claim yours is holy. You deride their outfits while yours are described in obsessive detail in Exodus, right down to the ephod, the gold thread, and the precious stones. But yeah, they're the weird ones. You sneer at a religious movement that evolved from the 12 Shia Islam, one of the most doctrinally dense and mystically symbolic branches of faith, and yet you stand there promoting a Bible that condones genocide, slavery, and the execution of disobedient children. But sure, let's all laugh at the Mahdi because his theology is too out there. Here's the truth. You're not laughing at cults. You're laughing at competition. And your own house is just as built on sand. So how dare you? How dare you mock the sacred when you traffic in it yourself? How dare you make fun of other believers for doing exactly what you do? Worshiping symbols, obeying unseen authorities, and placing their faith in a man who claims divine appointment. The only difference is that your story got mainstream distribution. You're not a skeptic. You're not insightful. You're just arrogant, ignorant, hypocritical, snotty, and just as blind to your own absurdities. If the Mahdi Abba al-Sadiq is leading a cult, then you're not preaching against it. You're just running a rival franchise. You want to mock them? Fine. But if you won't mock your own Bible, your own rituals, your own history of violence and irrationality, then don't pretend you're punching up. You're not above them. You're just like them.